First and foremost, a little bit of pleasantry here. This is Seattle. He travels with me where I go. And, all right. I take that picture for my kid and myself. Seattle's a very good snuggle partner. I'm here today to read you a story. Oh, this is... Hark, you've heard the commotion. There's word you're getting a promotion. Your boss calls you in and starts to suggest that the management career path might just be the best. You tell her yes, and quickly start nodding. Inside, your body's applauding. But as you get up to leave, your legs start to shake. What if you've made a terrible mistake? But rest assured, good friend, and I don't mean to offend, if this is a misstep, it's the first of plenty. So gather around, for in rhyming sound, I plan to list off a few of the many. Oh, the management mistakes that you'll make. So, hi, I'm Jeff Lembeck. That guy. I'm from Seattle, and I'm an engineering manager at NPM. Yeah, we have managers. I'm one of 4 in the engineering department. Yes, we have departments. We're like a whole company of people that sells goods and services that you could totally buy, and that's how we pay for things, like the registry and the CLI. And now that I'm in management, I'm totally obligated to plug that. Yeah, so it's been roughly a year. Actually, I was promoted. I was put into management a year ago from senior software engineer. And sometimes it has been really, really awesome. And sometimes is the key there, because it is not always awesome. It's like a super fire hose of a job. And so today, I'm here to prep you for some of the stuff you are bound to do if you also make this transition. And I say prep you because I was warned about all of this stuff, and I did it anyway. Here we go. After the news of your change sinks in, you'll update your title on LinkedIn. Manager of engineers, you think with some cheers, and that's when something else creeps in. Notifications might give you the notion that this is some sort of promotion, but I'm here to tell you, good friend, you're no closer to the end than if you'd started swimming the ocean. And truly, the fact of the matter is, even if you're a very good string adder, managing humans and writing code are a completely different career ladder. Mistake number 1, it's a promotion. So let's talk about career progression and ladders. A very common misconception is that becoming a manager is the next step for a senior engineer. This is where you go to make more money and have more power and buy hot tub boats and retire, and this could not be further from the truth. Real talk, you know how you spent several years getting from like associate or junior engineer into the senior engineer position? You get to do that all over again. Like from the very beginning. You know how people get whole degrees in business? That should be an indicator that this isn't just something you're going to be an expert at. And this is actually a super real problem that's inherent in our industry. We frequently expect and act like management is just some extension of engineering that you can pick up as you go. But it's a completely different craft. It's something you'll need training and a lot of reading and, holy cow, a ton of practice to even crack the level of getting good. And don't take my word for it. Marco Rogers has an excellent tweet storm about this, and basically, so is everybody else who's been in management for a while. So, if it's not a promotion, if your company only moves into management after the senior engineer, and management isn't a path that you're interested in, maybe talk about implementing a career ladder for engineering alone. Like, do you have levels above just senior engineer? Do you have senior 2 and 3? Do you have staff or principal engineers? These are actually super important roles to an organization that you can structure or to create structure and growth. And they're completely different positions in every way than management. Now the journey continues. Let them see what you've got in you to start to adjust. To plan is a must, or this entire new thing will pin you. You schedule your meetings, you do all your greetings, your drive to succeed is sincere. What to do now? You wonder, oh wow, what could be better than what got me here? Suddenly it's 3 months later and your projects are past their dates and your team is acting quite sorely because instead of focusing on being a manager, you decided to do 2 jobs poorly. Mistake number 2, doing what got you here. So now that you've hit management, the whole what do I do phase kicks in, and your instinct is extremely clear at this point. Why not continue what got me here? People are happy with that work, obviously, like you're in leadership now, right? Well, if your bosses are good at their jobs, they likely didn't switch your whole career path on you because you were the best coder around. This guy. So they hopefully moved you into management because they saw something in the way you motivate people. This means that focusing on the work you were doing before will actively sabotage your ability to succeed in your new position. And watching for this is difficult at best. It's easy to fall back into patterns of comfort and what you're good at. Sometimes you're the person who knows best how to accomplish a certain task, and it'd only take you a day. But the problem is that's not your job anymore. You've been moved into a position where your job is to manage a team, and you can only do one of these things well at a time. So what's the alternative? Make everybody on your team level up. Do you know a task better than anybody else? Document it, walk somebody through the code. Teach them how to do those tasks. Pair heavily for knowledge transfer, and make the other person drive while you do it. Now, you can take a step back and look at the future of what your people need. Well, now that you're not coding day to day, you can start to think away. You'll schedule, I bet, some new meetings to set yourself as the team's brand new architect. And while this naturally elates you, unfortunately, your team now hates you. Mistake number 3, time to be the architect. Day-to-day coding didn't work, and so you slipped into what's next instinctually for you. Long-term technical solutions. This feels good. It feels natural. You've likely been at it for a while if you're a senior engineer, so making this transition, you know the arena well, and these decisions are pretty easy to make. Except now you've robbed your team of agency. You see, planning ahead for your team doesn't mean choosing their tech solutions. It means helping them see what products they're building. And as a manager, you're able to give important information and context to your people that will help them inform their own decisions. You can help them take that information to the next level by helping them write RFCs. You can help them provide value and show their worth to the company by letting them drive some of the product decisions even. Now, this doesn't mean that you sit back and forego your knowledge about the subject. You should be spending time reading and keeping up and keeping yourself sharp. Because there will be times when you hire new people, and being able to onboard is a really nice way to get in some of that pairing time that you probably miss. And keeping sharp also allows you to be a sounding board for your team. So you're not the architect, you'll be the architect's right hand. You're helping your team. You're living the dream. It's time to help with coaching. You do code reviews, but don't set too many rules. You don't want to be encroaching. You deliver advice and try to be nice. You don't want to be the bad seed. But soon you will mind, because if the process is not defined, it's definitely not guaranteed. Mistake number 4, assuming expectations. Okay, so when you're an engineer and the next project comes through from product, you normally have some level of expectation. You expect the spec to have some level of detail to it. You expect the requirements. If it's UI or UX work, you likely expect some designs. This is pretty standard stuff. Hold what you're thinking there. The same stuff goes literally for everything else in human interaction. And now that you're a manager, it's 100% on you to make sure that all things are defined in one heck of a crystal clear way. If something is going to be not okay, then the parameters that somebody can deliver within need to be drawn very clearly. How's the team show the work it's doing? Is it a Kanban board? Oh, is it the expected velocity written down then? How about the card sizing? How about estimations? Is there a way you expect these things to be done? If you haven't written it down, and talked about it with your people and taken their feedback and iterated on it and come up with a process that is clearly defined, then you haven't come up with anything at all and nothing is guaranteed and you should fully expect to be frustrated later and it's all your fault. That's just the way it is. Welcome to management. You're setting the rules and these are software engineers. Do you know how good software engineers are at getting directly to where the lines for rules are? That's actually kind of their specialty. That's why you hire them. So, the thing I said to hold earlier, where you expect stuff from product and they don't actually give you the things you ever need, that's a tough one. But in being a manager, sometimes the people giving you the things they want, they're going to be really, really nebulous, and you need to help your team. And it's not ideal, but you can work with it. Before you start to code, turn around and write out a statement of work. That makes them happy. Declare the business value in what you're about to do, just in the first paragraph, like write it out. And then go spec out the pieces that you're going to build. Then pass it off to product. Like give it back to them, be like, this is probably what you meant to give us. And they'll go, yeah, sure, check. And then you can give it to QA for some requirements checking as well. And that actually provides an opportunity for your team to really own something. And in the end, everybody will love your team because of this, especially your bosses. Because when they say, where is this thing? You can say, well, I delivered it. And there's no excuses. You get messaged a lot, and are in meetings all day, and the video calls are just ruthless. You're answering questions left and right, and off your head you're saying, just do this. But you're finding the solutions that are being proposed are coming off ineffective and toothless because you haven't given thought to the statements you make, and not thinking through things is just hubris. Mistake number 5, making quick decisions. So there's this rumor that people like somebody who thinks quickly, or a person who responds right away to solve a problem, a person who tells it exactly how it is, and that's bullshit. When you're their leader, you see hard problems, they take time to think about. They take a lot of thinking time. If you end up just flying off the handle with answers, you end up being a reactive manager instead of a proactive manager, and I promise that's not where you want to be. So how much time per day do you think, sit around and think about problems that you're dealing with? Really, the problem itself. In Rich Hickey's talk, Hammock-Driven Development, which if you haven't seen Hammock-Driven Development, it's an awesome talk, and it's totally on YouTube, and you should go check it out. He focuses on solving engineering problems by setting aside distraction-free time to really think about what the problem is that you're solving instead of the feature you're thinking of building. This is true for management as well. I suggest removing yourself from all distractions and cutting out some time on your schedule where you're suddenly out of office, so you can go stare off into the middle distance to think. Do it for an hour. Sometimes do it for a day. Really think the problem through. Don't think about solutions yet. Think about the problems that you're dealing with. Think about what you're trying to solve. This approach will save you a lot of heartache and trouble. It will allow you to get to the bottom of what's happening and what needs to be done, instead of just patching over what you think the problem is with a quick solution. You've noticed something bizarre. One of your teammates are not performing to par. Oh, don't bother, you say. This will surely go away. That person is usually a star. So you let the few weeks pass, and then the mistakes are happening time and again. Are these acts malicious? That's certainly fictitious. You tell yourself to maintain zen. Now your bosses have noticed a slip, and you acknowledge that performance has dipped. If you'd just done your work, you wouldn't be going berserk, because now you're stuck writing a pip. That's the sound of a raptor. So, mistake number 6, allowing unwanted behavior to slip. So you've got somebody on your team who's an extremely high performer normally, and then you notice they start falling behind on things. And it's no big deal, you think. They're normally very consistent, and humans have ups and downs, and that's fine. Then one week you feel the complaint that they're reassigning all of their PagerDuty pages. They're jumping all of them up, and that feels a little odd because they clearly know how to address all of the problems that are coming through. And even if they didn't, you'd expect that these problems would be well documented and or they'd be taking the opportunity to learn how to do the task and document them. So then one day it hits. They check in something, and it passed a PR review, but it broke production. And this isn't like something that's going to get somebody in trouble. It did pass the PR review, but they were nowhere to be found during the fix. Now your boss is breathing down your neck because the name of somebody on your team is coming across her desk, and now they're talking about how unreliable someone is on your team, and she's ordering you to write them up or fire them. And how did it even get to this point? Like, now you have to write this person up. Now you have to have that conversation. You know they're better than this, so then you go and you write them up and you talk to them. And it's like, hey, help me out here. What's going on? And it turns out they're a bit burnout. It's been too long since they've had a vacation, and they're having some family troubles, and their head is just not in it right now. Now, if you talked to them earlier, you might have figured this out, and you could have helped them. You could have watched their PRs a little tighter and maybe covered a pager-duty shift or two, or even made sure they took a few 3-day weekends in a row, or like even a real vacation. So remember to have the hard conversations early, because they will only get harder over time. So, someone got fired, or here comes a pip, or maybe there's even something more scary. But it's your job to be the messenger, and you must do it right. That part is indeed necessary. So you shoot them a message the second you found out. Hey, let's chat, I've got some news, you say. You don't want people in the dark, and that's respectable, so you feel you must tell them right away. And so communicate to them from the top of your head, and that's when things go awry. You didn't think this through, you weren't quite prepared, and now you're set to dissatisfy. You didn't want to seem insincere, that is quite clear, but here's what the fact is. To deliver bad news without first rehearsing is basically management malpractice. Mistake number 7, delivering bad news without rehearsal. So at some point, you'll have to deliver bad news to somebody. Like, it might be layoffs, it could be putting them on a performance improvement plan, it might actually be firing them. The point is, part of your job is to be the messenger and the actor in these situations now. So the worst thing you can do is try to deliver this information without rehearsing it. So first thing you do, write it down. Write down what you plan to say. Then read it. Pick it apart. Think on it. Share it with somebody you trust to give you the feedback you need, maybe a peer manager. Then rewrite it. Go through this process until you're satisfied with it. Then practice it. I know it sounds kind of hokey, but you probably need to have a friend or a partner for this one. Deliver the news to them. Don't read the script. Keep it around, though. Make an outline and go off of it. The point is that you're not doing this without feeling. This isn't some cold thing that you're doing, but you're not being mechanical. But you're dealing with the life of a human, and delivering news that could be like this could be really, really hard on them. And because of that, they deserve the respect of you going through how you'll approach them. Once you've done this, go sleep on it. Give yourself some rest and do it again in the morning. Make sure you're okay with how you feel presenting this information, then make time for the talk. Once it's time to tell them, deliver what you've planned, and then shut up. Listen. Make space for them to emotionally deal with what's going on. They're probably going to say some things, and it's probably best you don't internalize those things. Because during crisis, people lash out, or they go quiet, or they do all sorts of things. But what's most important is that the words you're getting from them at that exact second are not necessarily how they really feel. They need time to think too. You feel like you're getting this down. You've turned your team and behavior around. All things seem to be a measurable success, and without much of a mess, you're not even wearing a frown. So you decide to take on all the things, and something in your heart sings. You're so excited to be this person that you see that you forget what overwork brings. And now for the last blow, your worries started to grow because you're burning out, and this is without a doubt because you forgot how to say no. Our last mistake for today, never saying no. Maybe you have a family, maybe you have hobbies you need to take to, maybe you have school or have medical issues or something outside of that takes up your time. Just know that no matter what you're doing, you're going to have to make extra time now that you dropped yourself back to junior, just for studying. You will consume books, you will consume articles. Do you know how many podcasts about leadership there are? You can't do any of this while you're working because now you're being dragged into meetings all day, and it's expected that you keep up to date on any kind of tech stuff that your company's doing as well, and you should probably know what's going on for every single team member, like where they are on their project and what their problems are. So maybe give yourself a little bit of space from the extracurriculars while you adjust and level up. Otherwise, you are, here, let's make this more literal. You are sitting up here and you are on a stage because you decided to take on a talk when it was probably not a good time for you to do that. And you're thinking to yourself, well, at least the crowd's good and they run a really good conference and like the food and the drink are good. And fuck, can somebody give me a Palinka? Because Jesus, I'm tired. I mean, I'm really tired. What the hell, man? So, to start at the beginning, hi, I'm Jeff Lembeck, and I'm burnt the fuck out on management. Give yourself some space, take care of yourself. Thank you.